Hi there, and welcome to Jones Lake. We're on Mount Royal Boulevard in Moncton right now, and Jones Lake expands past Mount Royal over towards the fire station. Jones Lake, for most Monctonians, they know as a man-made lake. Some newcomers might not know that it is. It is based on a natural body of water, Jonathan Creek. The reason for its existence goes way back to the expansion of the city into the West End. And West Main Street, the Salisbury Road, places like that would flood a lot because of Jonathan Creek. And as I have seen articles as far back as 1897 where they talked of a dam to help to mitigate some of the flooding. But still, a lot of talk, nothing happening about it. And then in 1927, a huge rainstorm, I believe it was almost 4 inches of rain in 18 hours, submerged the west end of Main Street and the area underwater, completely underwater. There was a big sign that went over Main Street by the Gyro Club welcoming people to Moncton in the West End. It was half underwater. That was a 29-foot sign. So a man by the name of Fred Jones. So this is not named after Oliver Jones. It's not named after Len Jones. A man named Fred Jones came up with an idea. I'm going to build a dam. I want to build a dam on the west end, in the West End on Main Street, parallel to Main Street, to help mitigate some of this. And what that would do is create an artificial lake. Two reasons. You're mitigating the flooding, and he found that a lake would be more aesthetically pleasing than the mud flats of that portion of the interval of Jonathan Creek. So he approaches council, and council really wants nothing to do with it, primarily because that part of Moncton at the time wasn't really part of Moncton. Doesn't become part of Moncton until 1950. So he's pushing the city council, and then the Great Depression happens. So we're not spending money on flood mitigation at that time. And then World War II happens, Second World War happens. We're not putting resources on the dam to mitigate some flooding. So it actually took quite a bit of time. And then Mr. Jones himself started buying up land in the area and developed what became Newton Heights and became the West End and the new West End, and arguments of where those actual boundaries are. But it, at the time, in 1950, when Newton Heights became part of the city of Moncton, that development in the West End was the largest development in Moncton's history. And Mr. Jones was the head of this, but always in his mind was, we have to build something to mitigate the flooding. So again, he goes after the city fathers in council, and they are just not interested. So his road contractor, Charles McEwen of the McEwen Airport up Irishtown, he said, you know what? We're building it ourselves. So on his own with Charles McEwen, the two of them actually built the dam, the concrete spillway, the concrete grates and everything else, and created essentially Jones Lake. And then he spent the rest of his days trying to convince council to take ownership of the lake and the spillway and the dam and everything else. And he fought until 1962. He died at 97 years old. 2 years after his death, the land is acquired by the city of Moncton, and thus the maintenance of Jones Lake and the dams and the sluiceways.